Indeed, the falsehood of the society was something that revolted me a lot, and that unfortunately still revolts me a lot, and quite frequently. Yes, I will try to elaborate a bit on this idea. When I wrote Being Pyotr Ilyich, I brought this idea of falsehood when I spoke about my professional career, because I was working in the Ministry of Justice, and I didn't feel at all at my place, because I felt that my work was something without any real meaning. It was an extremely boring routine, and the occupations that I had there were, for myself and in my own view, completely useless, without an important and real purpose. I simply thought that to some extent I had to move some papers from one office to another. And it was not only the fact that I didn't like the working field, and that I felt my heart was longing for music and for doing something I loved, and for dedicating myself to art and to something in which I could express my inner emotional overflow. It was this, but moreover, it was this fact of falsehood, of doing things without any meaning, forms without content, that revolted me a lot. Because even if I gave up my job in the Ministry of Justice, the institution kept on working in the same way, of course, with or without me. And I wanted to underline this idea of how sad and how useless it is in our world and in our society to do things that don't have a real meaning, to lie yourself and to lie other persons around you. And I think that there is a book that expresses all these ideas in such a beautiful and profound way, and by coincidence it is a book that speaks about Russia and about exactly this end of the 19th century, and the book is Tolstoy's last novel called Rejection, a very spiritual and profound work that reveals exactly this contrast between what the world seemed to be and what it really was. And the novel goes even deeper, not only to the idea of falsehood, but to the idea of injustice, that there were laws who were either misinterpreted, or there were laws who were not even conceived in a rightful and clear way. But no one seemed to care that there were a lot of people who were condemned or even killed without being guilty. And no one seemed to care that there were so many innocent people who were suffering without meaning. And the society kept on going in the same way, trying to hide all the things that were really not working. And unfortunately for all of us, all this still happens today in our world. So yes, I want to tell to you once more an idea that I love so much, and that I owe to one of our first teachers, who learned us a lot about alternative therapies, about energy, about spirituality, and so on. He used to tell us all the time, try to live in truth. This idiom, try to live in truth, is something that I love so much, and I think that we should all apply it in our lives as much as possible. Because unfortunately, in our society, people live in falsehood and always try to create an image about themselves, sometimes even lying themselves, not only other persons. And I'm to some extent, I'm working with this idea of creating an image due to my, let's say, parallel life, as I'm joking about my profession in marketing and PR that I have practiced for a lot of years. So yes, people try to create an image about themselves and try to transmit this idea about themselves, and this image is not always reflecting reality. And I think that for our own inner peace and for our inner emotional health, we should try to be as honest as possible with ourselves and with other people. Although I know that what's difficult in this situation is that sometimes it hurts very much. It hurts very much to accept the truth about yourself or other people. But I think that it's better for our inner emotional health to work with us, with patience and with love, and to change what we do not like, slowly and patiently, rather than try to hide and to lie ourselves. Of course, that the media and social media unfortunately did and still do a lot of harm in this aspect, because they pushed people towards this idea of creating false images, of trying to be good all the time, to be successful all the time, to create some false idea about everyone who looks well, who is beautiful, who is young all the time. And this didn't help at all, on the contrary, to this idea of living in truth. And I think that this harms all of us, and our inner emotional balance is not helped in this way, on the contrary. And I think that from a spiritual point of view, our planet passes through a very difficult and complex period of time, which was largely discussed in a lot of books published during the last years about a new vibrational dimension, the fifth dimension, and so on. So it's quite a difficult moment, but one of the characteristics of this huge transformation to which we are all submitted, being conscious or unconscious about the process, is characterized by the idea of apocalypse. Apocalypse doesn't mean the end of the world, as it was stated for a lot of times, or at least that's not the main idea, the idea of destruction, or the idea of a Hollywood movie in which our world is submitted to a disaster. The idea of apocalypse in Greek meant uncovering, unveiling important truths. And I do think that exactly in this period of time, humanity is encouraged to reveal things that were hidden for such a long time. Of course, that this is also about conspiracies, but I don't want to address this topic of theory of conspiracies right now. What I want to underline is this idea of uncovering important things that harm our inner emotional balance. And I want to give you another example. During the last years, I have met with this idea of postpartum depression that characterizes a lot of women after giving birth. And for example, this is one thing that was covered and hidden for a lot of generations and did a lot of harm. Because I think that many women were to some extent ashamed about the fact that they were feeling sad, that they were feeling a state of deep anxiety, that they were not happy at all, although they became mothers. And I think that not accepting it and not treating it appropriately does a lot of harm to the woman herself, and of course to the little creature, to the child, and in the end to the whole family. And this is another topic addressed in my book, Being Pyotr Ilyich. The role of the woman and in the family, the important role of the woman, and how much it was also affected by the hypocrisy and the falsehood of the times. Because, yes, I do speak about this too, the fact that this idea of depression was not discussed, was not accepted, was not treated. And I think that nowadays, because fortunately people started to speak openly about some of these topics, it helped a lot of persons to be cured, to be helped. And I don't refer, of course, only to the idea of postpartum depression, to the depression in general, and not only about depression. There are a lot of human problems that must be addressed openly. But once again, we should try to help ourselves and to help the other people by being open, by trying to approach each person and each topic with empathy, with understanding, with flexibility, and with love and with patience. Because if we do have the attitude that is so much nourished by the press or by social media, and we judge the others, we are always critical, and we have a lot of irony, and we are mean without any reasons, this doesn't help at all, on the contrary. So I think that all in all, we should try to live in truth as much as possible. For example, if I speak about myself, it might be strange, but the more I love someone, the more I'm honest with that person. It doesn't mean that generally speaking I'm not honest, but I have great sharpness in being honest the more I love someone, because I think that we really do help each other when we help the other one to see himself or herself in a mirror. But we should keep this mirror in our hands, once again, with empathy, with patience, with love, with understanding, not with the cold look and the irony and the great quantity of mean and critical attitude that we find on Facebook and on social media. So yes, I keep on fighting all the time for this idea of living in truth. When we do meet our families, for example, for Christmas parties, or in other moments of time when we gather together a lot of people, there is also a context in which there is a lot of false attitude, in which we want to create images, in which we have superficial conversations. I think that it's rather important to meet one person for 10 minutes and to tell two real things from your heart. Maybe only to ask simply, openly and honestly, how are you? Are you okay? How is your life? Maybe we should all be more in peace, and we should find easier our inner emotional balance if we would manage to have honest and heart-to-heart discussions than to try to appear all the time otherwise than we are.